check on the Philippine markets. PSCI opens Wednesday higher by nearly half of 1% at the get-go at 6,280. The stock market posted slight gains yesterday, Tuesday, closing higher by less than a tenth of 1%. The Philippine peso opens today stronger at 56,005 to the dollar, to be exact. Peso closed slightly stronger again at 56,145 against the greenback on Tuesday's trading. Well, with us now for more is April Tan, COL Financial Chief, Equity Strategist. Good to see you again, April. Welcome back to the program.
Hi, thank you for having me, Kathy.
So how are the bank earnings looking so far? We've had BDO, PNB earnings over the past 48 hours, and Metrobank in a short while.
I mean, they look okay. We've had some growth and the demand for loans continue to go up. So, I mean, that's good. And NPLs are also going down. So far, so good for the banks.
The last time we talked, it was really dividend plays that you recommended for investors. How have your picks done so far in the first quarter? Did all of them live up to the gains that you had forecast amid the uncertainty that we're facing with Trump policies?
Well, I think they've done quite well. Yeah, because if you think about it, they're all quite relatively resilient because we have more of a defensive tilt. So they've done quite well, and since they give out cash dividends, I mean, investors have generally, stuck with them. I think one of the stocks that did not perform well is Security Bank, but I think it was because of the news that Moody's downgraded the outlook. But we're still saying that we're maintaining our positive outlook on Security Bank because, of course, valuations are so cheap. And, I mean, if you look at the reason why the capitalization went down, which is the reason why the outlook was downgraded, it was because of the faster growth of its asset base, which allowed its P&L to go up. And for this year, we're projecting a 14% increase in the P&L.
Yeah, but could it be a cause for concern for the whole financial industry with net interest margins possibly being under pressure because rates are on the way down?
Well, definitely margin pressure is one of the issues. But, since, I mean, on the positive side, what we're hoping for is that demand for loans would continue to pick up because, as you've discussed earlier, for example, ADB was still saying that they're still projecting the economy to grow by, 5 to 6% this year. So with that, we'll still see strong demand for loans. So we feel that, the continuous growth in lending, plus, of course, remember we had triple R cuts from the BSP. So those two factors will help partially offset, some declines in the net interest margins.
Let's talk about the negotiations about to happen. Secretaries Chris Aldeguer and Frederick Go in Washington, D.C. to negotiate with the U.S. Trade Representative. How will the markets react to whatever happens there?
It's definitely positive, but well, if you think about it, even at the worst case scenario where we will get hit with the reciprocal tariff, in the grand scheme of things, exports account for only a small share of GDP for us. But of course, I think it's worth fighting for every small percentage point that we can. But we're just saying that even at the worst case scenario, we are less vulnerable compared to our neighbors. And in fact, if the reciprocal tariffs are implemented, because right now, of course, we know that we're at a pause. We feel that we're at an advantage. We're not at the disadvantage because we have the second lowest, reciprocal tariff relative to other Asian neighbors.
We got about a minute to go. Elections here happening in 12 days. What impact is this having on consumer spend or sentiment, if any?
Yeah, so election, is something that we talked about earlier this year to have a positive impact on consumer spending. And it seems like, from anecdotal evidence that it is having a positive impact because based on our discussions with listed companies, they seem to be quite optimistic about the first quarter because, election spending coupled with the slowing inflation rise they're leading to more robust consumer spending.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, April Tan of COL Financial.